Jarrah White has claimed that there is a star in one of the Gemini 8 photos. When I looked for it, I couldn't find it. I made a video which showed several Gemini 8 images. The quality of images in my video was poor, but in the higher quality originals I still couldn't find the star. In his video reply, Jarrah so kindly offered to help. I can't write a comment on this since he has blocked me, so this video will have to do. Here's the photo, and Jarrah has added the catalog number. If he had given me the correct catalog number, I think I would have had a better chance. Jarrah won't be able to reply with a comment, as I felt it was only fair to deny him the rights he chose to deny me, because he feels I insulted his idol and intellectual mentor, the happily deceased cultural vandal, conspiracy crackpot, pseudo-scholastic imposter, and deluded egomaniacal hero-bashing, reputation-trashing, achievement-slashing, sour grapes, college dropout, anti-science, junk author, Ralph Renee. I'm sure no offense was intended. Incidentally, Mr. White seems willing to admit that the Earth is bright enough to prevent cameras from showing stars. That was one of his ad hoc arguments against the photos I used, and that's why this time none of my photos show the Earth. Yet this picture, which he uses to show a star, includes the surface of the Earth. Why are all of the others which don't show the bright surface devoid of stars if this photo has one? But let's take a look at his evidence, as if one photo in an Earth orbit showing a star means that Apollo photos should have shown them too. In addition to the wrong catalog number, another reason I never found this star is because the photo needed to be enhanced to see it. Yes, this is really the one he feels debunks the whole Apollo program. Using clips from his video, we finally see, well, a dot. We have no idea who made this image or how, and Mr. White should not have left that catalog number, correct or incorrect, on the image. That is not the NASA image. This is. Back to the enhancement, though. I notice not one, but many dots. Are they all stars? I have superimposed star-like dots on these, carefully representing their apparent brightness. By a totally unexpected stroke of good luck, I was able to locate the star field which contains Jarrah's dot. So now we can make a comparison between his field of dots and a popular planetarium program called Stellarium. And what was the stroke of good luck that allowed me to locate this photograph against its background stars? Well, of all things, it was the moon. Here, I found it in the background and never noticed it before. We also know the date and time that this photograph was taken to within 20 minutes. It was March 16, 1966, around 5:40 p.m. United States Eastern Time. This means that we can precisely determine the phase of the moon and, consequently, its magnitude. The brightest star in this region of the sky, and several degrees outside of the frame of this photograph, is Altair, and at a magnitude of -9.71 on that date and time, the moon was 55,000 times brighter than Altair. No star in this photograph is as bright as Altair. Even if Jarrah's dot was Venus, which, by the way, was very near its maximum brightness at that time, the moon at this phase is still 100 times brighter. And yet, it doesn't show up in Jarrah's enhancement at all. If these little dots are stars, the moon should dominate the scene, and yet here it is completely invisible. This alone proves that Jarrah's dot is not a star, but there's more. The moon in this photograph gives us a very good idea of this picture's position, angular orientation, and size against the background of stellarium stars as seen here. I have outlined the two possible positions that the photograph could occupy, and I have superimposed the Agena photograph on the star field, placing it in the proper orientation related to the moon and this star which is shown. Around that star, in Jarrah's picture, in his close-up, I have highlighted the 10 most dominant dots and compared them against a similar scaled picture of the sky using stellarium. You can see that there is no similarity between them. Now let's use the other possible orientation, a larger field, which has Venus in the position of Jarrah's dot relative to the moon. The moon here is shown 4 times normal scale. Let's compare it to the moon in the photograph so we can see it is at the same angle. When you see the new orientation of the photograph, to straighten it up would mean that the moon would no longer be at the proper angle, so Venus cannot be Jarrah's dot. And the field of stars around Venus in this image from stellarium also does not match the enhancement that Jarrah used of this photograph. It appears that Jarrah's enhanced dot is probably not a star, but if it is, and I've made some kind of error, the obvious point remains. The rare star in an Earth orbit photo does not mean the Apollo photos should be ablaze with them, as Bill Kaysing and all of his followers claim. Please watch Part 2 for the moon side of this discussion.